Good afternoon, everyone. Hey guys, this is Bruce Marshall from Simpler Trading with the nightly market update for Wednesday, November the 10th. And I have got the ES on the screen here. Another crazy day today in the markets. We have had this nonstop, relentless, straight up, straight up, straight up for weeks and weeks. And we talked about that in the last several weeks on the nightly videos and trying to figure out where we were going and when it was going to end and all that kind of stuff. We knew it was going to end, and I don't know that it's ending here. Well, that's what we're going to talk about today, and try to figure out if we can make heads or tails of this. But what we're looking at here, what really started this today, and today was probably more selling than we've had in a little while. But anyway, from top to bottom here was 55 points, I think it was, something like that. Anyway, pretty good flush, but this is because of inflation. The Fed has told us for a long time the inflation is transitory and don't worry about it. And what you're seeing, a loaf of bread and a gallon of gas, that's not really real. It is transitory and all that kind of stuff. And I've been kind of joking around about that for a while because I don't believe it. And side note, we did a big major renovation on a house in the last 6 months, and so I'm seeing all the shortages and the prices going through the roof and all that kind of stuff of everything kind of across the board. But anyway, so inflation is at the highest level in 31 years, and that's kind of a big deal, right? So what else happened? Well, look at this. So market goes down. That's the ES. Here's the Nasdaq. Nasdaq goes down. Guess what? Gold goes up. Gold. Check this out. Boom. That's when the CPI was announced this morning. Boom, 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 boom. I don't know how big of a move that is in gold, but I think it's I can't remember. It's a very large move in gold. So we had the 30-year Treasury that had a let's see, it was the biggest daily rise in the 10 years, the biggest daily rise in a year, and that's a 30-year. The yen is a 10-year. So price down and yields up on bonds. And then, of course, we had crude here kind of falling through the floor. So things are starting to move around. But let's get back over here to, and there's no, we know the supply chain problems and all that kind of stuff, and I'm hearing more and more, I know you are too, about, be sure and stock up the pantry and, get ready because it's going to get a lot worse and all that kind of stuff, and, who knows what'll happen, but as far as the ES, if we go back like the last 20 days, we can see that it's just, off this low here, 4,300. You remember way back there when we were at 4,300 and now we're at 4,700? I mean, that's a long, long, long way, and, gap and gap and gap, and now we're starting to kind of get back just a little bit. This is really not much in the big grand scheme of things, but the thing to consider is this: the crack in the ice that starts us going down, or is this just a dip and they're going to buy it? Because what we've seen, you know, really throughout the whole year, for the most part, is just buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, and in a big way too. I mean, look at these huge gaps here. Big runs higher. So we may get a big push here tomorrow, or we may get this may continue on down. I personally think it's probably going to continue on down, and we might be starting one of these kind of deals where we're going to kind of work our way down, and maybe we end up down here at the snow line or lower. Um, and then at some point it becomes really interesting again, and we all jump in there and we buy it hand over fist and run it back up and all that. But right now, huge question mark as far as, you know, do you buy this? We're sitting on the skyline right here. Do we buy this for a bounce higher, or do we short this for, the next move down here? And that's the $1 million question. I took some trades off today. Excuse me. And I had I guess you could say it was short. I had a fade trade on the Qs and on the Nasdaq. I took both of them off today, which probably means it'll actually turn into something much bigger on the downside. I've got I've got two trades on the SPX, and I'm totally fine with those. They're kind of wide stuff that I do, and calendars and diagonals kind of stuff that gives you a lot of width. But I'm very uneasy about putting much more money, especially from a directional standpoint here. Higher or lower, which one is it? Coin toss, and I don't like coin tosses. But again, this could turn into another one of these. Very likely. We'll see. We'll know in the next day or two. We could get a small bounce here and then a fade. Notice here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, actually 5 days in a row of down, and then you got a green, a glimmer of hope right there, and then down, and then another glimmer of hope, and then a really big flush. So, don't get sucked into buying this too soon. If we get back up here, we may hit this, all-time high there, and then fail from there. So just be careful on that. Other than that, you guys have seen Tesla all over the place, Amazon. There are definitely some cracks in the ice starting in the Nasdaq primarily, and that's what's been leading the market. The handful of Nasdaq names we know. But again, if we look at this, here's what makes it tricky. All of the moving averages are still on the side of the bulls. This market still could be bought and run higher and still be fine. So, again, it's really tough to say which side to get off, on this one. If you're trading, I, of course, I sound like a broken record, tight stops and limit your max loss possible and things like that. I'm doing much more singles and doubles now, and just trying to limit risk, and it's been working. Actually, all through this, trading's been pretty good, but it's not near the volume or the size that I normally do. But that's by design. That's the way I want it. So, anyway, all we can do now is wait and see how this plays out over today's Wednesday. The next couple of days, could give us a direction if we have a big flush, or it might take the next until say next Wednesday, next 3, 4, 5 days, until we actually start to see a direction if this is actually going to start a trend down. So we'll see. But other than that, that's what I've got. Just be very, very nimble here and be very careful. So thanks for your time. I appreciate it. Hope this helps, and I'll talk to you at the next update. Take care.
Without simpler trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency. It's one of the things that won me